also known as the cowboy's wife. I'm no expert on anything and I don't claim to be, but I have been alive for 56 years, so I have some funny stories. Come saddle up with me and take a ride, and maybe I can make you laugh or smile or cry or give you something to just think about that day. Let's do this. Hey everybody, Trish Charleston here, and I am back doing my podcast. I don't know why, except that I feel like it's something that's been on my heart, and so I decided, until I felt like it was something God wanted me to do, I wasn't going to do it, and I don't know if this is what He wants or not, but I don't think He doesn't want it, so we're going to go for it, see what happens. Today, I want to talk about 3 different things. First, I'm going to talk about my book. I had the pleasure of speaking today at a Women in Ag conference for the FFA, some of the local chapters in Lamar and some of the other surrounding small schools. And there were about 180 some girls in attendance. And it was really, I think it went really, really good. But it was funny because what I wanted to talk to them about was 3 different things, and you guys already know my background, so I'm not going to give you the spiel that I gave them and about the book about staying hooked, but I will read to you what I read to them just because Christmas is coming and I have lots of books to sell. So if you want to buy one, you can just contact me, reach out to me. You can go on my website, you can go on my Facebook page, just message me and I will get one in the mail to you. They're $20, $25 with shipping. And so when this young lady called me probably 2 months ago and asked me to be the keynote speaker at this event, and when she called me, I literally laughed out loud because if you all know and follow me, you know that Emma recently got married and she got engaged on August 12th, I think. The wedding was November 1st. It was a shotgun wedding, not because they were going to have a baby, but because they rodeo for a living. And some of the people in the actual wedding party, like most of them rodeo, but some of the guys were actually in the NFR this year. And so with the crazy rodeo schedule and finals and all these things, this was the only weekend that most of them can do it. There were still some that didn't come, and we missed them because it was great. We had I fasted for 40 days because I was praying to God for a beautiful day, because in November in Missouri, I mean, you could get anything. It's pouring down rain today and it's probably 68 degrees. It was warmer. It's warmer today than it was on Emma's wedding. I was praying for sunny and 75. I fasted from sugar for that entire time. And then I would start bargaining with God and I'd be like, okay, how about 70? Or I'd take 65. How about 60 and sunny? Just, and that's what we do, isn't it? We start trying to bargain with God. Well, He gave us a beautiful day, but it was cold and the girls were not wearing a lot. And there were 13 bridesmaids. Oh, yes. 13 groomsmen. One of the groomsmen on the Wednesday before the wedding calls and says he's not coming. So no offense, I probably won't be cheering for that guy at the NFR, but that's just me. I'm sure he has his reasons and whatever. But anyway, we had our another dear friend step in and take his spot, and I think it was meant to be, because we love him. He's like family, and so it just worked out better anyway. So yay, thank you for doing that, because I like him more. Anyway, the wedding was incredible. We had all of these women staying in our house, and they started kind of rolling in about Thursday. The wedding was Saturday, and so we had this 13 very different personalities, 14, with Emma, of course, here, and me, 15, and then we had the mother of the groom, and there was just a lot of hormones in one house. And, my house is pretty good size, but I don't know that any house is big enough for that many hormones. And it was just the most incredible experience, because there was not a mean word spoken throughout the entire time. I mean, and if there was, I didn't know about it. It was really incredible because everybody just got along completely magically. And I mean, the wedding was crazy fun. Like I always do, I overdo. That's what I do. And I wouldn't take any help. And thank God that I have friends that just show up anyway, because I really thought I had it going on. But so this person calls me in the midst of this and asks me to be this keynote speaker. And so I literally laughed out loud. I'm like, you want me to do what? And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't, I mean, when is it? Can you give me a couple weeks and let me think about it? Just give me a minute. I got to get through this wedding and then, we'll talk about it. Well, with my answer, obviously she assumed I didn't want to do it because in the moment I didn't want to do it. And so we get to the wedding. And again, like I said, I overdid it. And I learned something in this process. And I hope that all of you will learn something from it too. When you don't allow people to help you, when someone reaches out to you and helps you, asks to help you, they're doing it because God's putting it on their heart for them to do it. So when you don't allow them to do it, you're actually robbing them of a blessing. I never thought about it that way. And honestly, most people aren't going to ask if they really don't want to help you. I mean, I don't want to be a burden to anybody, but instead I'm robbing people of blessings, and that's wrong. And so luckily I had a friend who now lives in Alabama. She flew down. She was a rock star the whole day. Thank you, Lene. My friend Michelle just showed up and wouldn't take no for an answer. I told her no 57 times and she just showed up anyway. Now I'll promise you, she worked for 2 days from morning to night and never left. She had to just run home and get ready for the wedding and come right back. We had a guitar player during dinner. We had a dueling pianos after, and it was just a hoot. And then we had a DJ. And when he got done at 12:30, they hooked up a turtle box. This sucker went on till 3:30 in the morning. I have been fighting this head cold chest thing for now 2 months. I still can't get rid of it. It's ridiculous. I've tried everything. I just literally drank some ivermectin. I've taken 13 COVID tests. I do not have COVID, but I got something. Hopefully it's not this horrible herpes virus that these horses have, because I may have started it. I'm kidding, of course, but it's awful, whatever it is. So it will not go away. It's got some real hang time. It's staying hooked. It took my advice with my book and stayed hooked, and it's really doing it. But so after the wedding, I had on my calendar in November, today, in fact, November 20th, to do this FFA thing. So about a couple weeks ago, I called and I said, listen, I need more information about this. What do you want me to talk about? Blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't think you wanted to do it, so we got someone else. And I'm like, well, I didn't want to do it, but the wedding's over now, and I've had a little bit of time to, process things. And they're just like, well, so I handled it so poorly. And this poor young lady that called me, she was so professional, and I just blew it. So then I felt really bad because the teacher, Mrs. Brummett, who I've known her family my whole life, her husband's family, and who was her mother-in-law, is a dear friend of mine. She said, well, one of the girls, I don't know if it was one of the girls or more than one of the girls, we'll just say one because that's most likely. She said they really wanted you to be the keynote speaker. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel awful. I said, what can I do? What can I do? So she said, you could be on the rotation and you can just be one of the classrooms that the girls go to. So instead of speaking one time this morning, I had to speak 8 times. And this is what you get for blowing it with your first impression. And one of the keynotes I spoke about today to the girls was, you do not get a second chance to make a first impression. And that was so true in that circumstance. And so I gave them this example of even how to handle yourself, a phone call, for crying out loud. It can be a phone call. It can be I was reading the room and I said, some of you people don't even want to be here today just by the looks on your faces. When you're trying to get a job or trying to do anything in the world, if you come into our office and if the cowboy comes home and talks to me about anything, which is rare, but sometimes he involves me and gets my opinion. But if you've been unkind to me, or if you want to come and work on the ranch, or, work with me on my books or whatever, and I've seen you in passing and you've been hateful and blah, 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 I'm not hiring you. I want somebody that's showing happiness on their face, showing they want to be there, showing that they, are excited about life and, just all the things. Now, do not get me wrong. We all have a bad day. We don't know what's going on in somebody else's life. And the other example I gave to them today, so after the wedding, I posted a picture of our family, and it takes a photographer obviously a little while to get the pictures done. And she was a rock star. I mean, she had the pictures in like 3 days, but I was blowing up Facebook by then because I was so happy that it was beautiful and all the things. And it was so cool because during the wedding, like when Emma and Jackson were taking communion, and during a prayer, the sun literally came out and you could feel God there. It was just incredible. I mean, it was so, everyone that was a Christian felt him there. And in those 2 moments, it was wild, just so cool. So we were so happy. And we were just having a great time. And I posted this picture of my family. And in the picture, Emma's holding a beer. So I post this picture. It's a great picture of my family because we were so happy. And I had a little mind check when I did it. And that is the Holy Spirit, folks. And when you get that check in your spirit, you should probably pay attention to that. Well, stupid Trish here, I didn't. So I post this picture of our family. Well, here's the deal. Emma didn't post it. She can post whatever she wants of herself. But because I posted a picture of this, I got hundreds and hundreds of compliments. Lots of people saying, oh my gosh, beautiful bride, beautiful bride. But one woman saw the beer and said, no bride is beautiful with a beer in her hand. And boy, the mama in me wanted to just shred her because she doesn't know my daughter. And I don't know this person from Adam. And here's the thing that I explained to these girls. I did that to Emma. I have now made this woman's view of her in a negative way because I posted that picture. That's on me, and I will forever regret it. But she also doesn't know Emma. She didn't see her, the week before driving around town with a recovering drug addict, trying to find her a job, brushing her hair. She's trying to about to get married. She has lots of other things to do. And she's driving from place to place to try to help this person find a job. She went and bought her a new hairbrush. She was fixing her hair. She went to her door and on Sunday morning and made her come to church with her. The month before that, a friend of mine was moving who's a recovering alcoholic who will openly talk about it and has on this podcast. In fact, Emma and Jackson went over there and they were helping her pack her things. And Emma stayed and vacuumed her house because she walks with a walker, and Emma didn't think that she should be doing it because she didn't think she was physically capable. And that's the heart that my daughter has. And I wanted to just unleash, as you can imagine, on this woman. But I, of course, didn't because God was like, you did this, or shut your mouth. My friends took care of it pretty much. I think she deleted her post, but I don't know. But here's the deal. Jesus turned water into wine. That was his very first miracle, and we were celebrating. Anything in excess is a sin. If you can eat too much chocolate cake and it's a sin, but, everyone's going to call it out if it's alcohol, which alcohol is bad. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I rarely drink anymore, but it's irrelevant. I should not have posted that. So I explained that to these girls today. We also talked about cairns, and not Karen, like a Karen which I looked up on. I tried to find the definition of a Karen that you hear about all the time. Did you know it's defined as a white woman? I was like, why are we being racist now? Why are they only white women? but it's right-wing crazy nutbags that are telling about their political views and just being hateful, all the things. But actually cairns, which is spelled CAIRN, and cairns are rock climbing for the term is used for rock climbing, and they're things that show you that they're like stacks of rocks that people will leave to show you the trail. So a lot of these times when these people are climbing the mountains or whatever they're doing on these hard traverses and all these crazy, I don't know about any of this. I've never climbed a mountain in my life except trying to get up where I've fallen down skiing. But this is what they're for. The Bible talks about cairns all the time. They call them other things. But anytime God worked a miracle or something happened there, they always put a stone there to remind them, so that the people that come later in life know this story and know what happened because of this reminder. It's a memorial for what happened there. So that, because we're repopulating, dying, the circle of life is happening all the time. And I explained to these girls, there's nothing new under the sun, nothing new. Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived, in Ecclesiastes, will tell you there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing that you are going to do that we haven't already done. Now, you might do it in a newer vehicle, which I told them that too. Your car might drive itself, but it's irrelevant. God still knows about it. In 2025, he's not surprised by any of the new things that are happening because he created everything. And he created the people that are creating the stuff. So he already knows about it. It's not a surprise. But what God does, even now, even like in the days of, Mary herself birthed Jesus and never had sex with a man. So miracle number one, right? All of those things still happen in our lives if we will see what God is leaving for us to see. He's still leaving spiritual cairns in our path today. And the thing that I love about that, and what I try to explain to these young women, is they are often in the form of people. He gives you all of these people to take advice from and to learn from, and that you can follow their advice instead of trying to do things on your own and just getting hurt. And we all have to go through those things. I obviously have written about Emma's whole life in Stay Hooked, and her journey. Well, it was more my journey with her, but I wrote a lot of personal things about her life. And in one of her, the relationship she had before she met Jackson, everybody and their dog was waving a red flag. But because you think you're in love, you don't see it, you would just ignore it. Well, she could have saved herself a lot of heartache if she would have just seen the spiritual cairns that were all around her. And on the other hand, however, when she did meet the man of her dreams, had she not gone through such a horrible time, she would not have appreciated the kind person that Jackson is. And she has even said that herself. She said, I would have never appreciated his kindness. And he is a wonderful, I know he is her absolute soulmate. And so God gives us these things in our life to make us stronger, to make us smarter, to make us be able to endure things and to know when it's real. But he also gives us these people in our lives. Don't take for granted your grandparents or the elders in your church or all these great people that come along your way, your teachers, these mentors that are around you. Sometimes your heroes that you look up to, like your sports heroes and actors and things on TV, folks, those people are not, a lot of them aren't even living our same lives. You want to be talking to somebody that actually is a normal person that has been where you are. And that is the cool thing that I think God uses to help us, is he puts these people in our paths if we are just smart enough to see it and notice it. Well, I was going to read to you about Stay Hooked today, but I'm not because I'm running out of time. But I just wanted to share that little bit with you today, and I'm excited about being back. I'm excited to announce that Jordan Joe and I are going to do some collaborating with her Cowgirl Armor. I'm excited to get to talk about that. Hopefully, maybe on our next episode, we'll talk about that. And just whatever God's got for me, we'll just figure it out step by step. But remember, when you're walking on your path, if you're carrying a light in the dark, your light, it only lights the next step. Well, and that's exactly how God works. He's not going to tell you the whole journey. You know, I even wrote this it's even hanging on my wall. It said, if God showed us the whole journey, we'd never take the first step. That's why the Bible says he is a light, to our path. He's right. He gives you the first step. He only lights the first step. You have to take the step in order to see the light for the next step. So quit trying to see the whole picture and just step out in faith. Take that step and look for those spiritual cairns, because he's going to put them out there for you to find. I love you guys. I'm excited to be back. We'll see how it goes. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next week.